What if Hollywood's most tireless storyteller spent decades hiding a tale no camera ever caught? Tyler Perry built a billion-dollar kingdom out of perseverance and fate, yet a single lawsuit bolstered by eerie silences and vanished friends now threatens to topple the throne. Tonight, we'll trace the breadcrumbs from one cryptic Instagram post to a $260 million courtroom showdown. By the end, you'll decide whether this is a ruthless shakedown or the long-suppressed finale of Perry's own saga. A quick note before we dive in. Every claim you're about to hear is an allegation until proven in court. Still, the receipts piling up are impossible to ignore, and the people closest to Perry have never sounded quieter. Ready? Let's rewind to the moment the happily ever after cracked. The day Tyler Perry announced, "I'm 51, single, and wondering what the next chapter looks like," fans felt the ground shift. No shout out to his longtime partner Gelila Bekele, no hint of heartbreak, just a casual shrug from a man famous for weaving every tear and triumph into his films. Viewers asked, why walk away from the billionaire who wrote fairy tales for everyone else? The questions only grew louder when Bekele, always private but never invisible, slipped completely off the red carpet radar. Her exit wasn't a breakup, it looked like a clean escape, yet the real shock came later when whispers suggested she'd sprinted out of Atlanta to dodge something she'd seen up close. But that was just the first crack in Perry's polished facade. The day Tyler Perry announced, "I'm 51, single, and wondering what the next chapter looks like," fans felt the ground shift. No shout out to his longtime partner Gelila Bekele, no hint of heartbreak, just a casual shrug from a man famous for weaving every tear and triumph into his films. Viewers asked, why walk away from the billionaire who wrote fairy tales for everyone else? The questions only grew louder when Bekele, always private but never invisible, slipped completely off the red carpet radar. Her exit wasn't a breakup, it looked like a clean escape. Yet the real shock came later when whispers suggested she'd sprinted out of Atlanta to dodge something she'd seen up close. But that was just the first crack in Perry's polished facade. The rumors had circled for years like paparazzi drones, hush talk about the mogul's orientation, strict no personal questions rules on set, friendships that cross the line from mentorship to mystery. Hollywood knows image is currency. One smear can tank a franchise, so power players often craft photogenic families, whether love or optics fuel the smiles. In Perry's case, outsiders believed the Bekele relationship doubled as a human shield. The longer they stayed together, the quieter the chatter about secret romances with male colleagues. Yet gossip, like smoke, always finds a doorframe. Screenshots began drifting through group chats. "He's still acting like he likes women," one viral tweet read, tagging Perry's name a dozen times. Theories multiplied. Was the playwright repressing a truth or simply guarding his privacy? Nobody had proof until a restless actor stepped forward with a timeline, documents, and a demand. $260 million for pain no paycheck could erase. Enter Derek Dixon, a rising performer who once called landing a role in Perry's shows winning the lottery. He first met the mogul at a 2019 industry mixer. According to the lawsuit, Perry asked for his number, promised future roles, and delivered. Dixon soon appeared in Ruthless and The Oval, but the fairy tale soured fast. Late-night texts allegedly morphed from small talk to suggestive lines like, "What'll it take for guiltless time with you?" When alcohol flowed at Perry's Atlanta mansion, Dixon claims the mentor grabbed his thigh while he slept in a guest room. He says he shut it down, but the air turned strange. An unspoken debt between kingmaker and protege. Perry's legal team calls the entire story a straight-up scam. They say Dixon sought proximity, documented every wink, then weaponized a friendship. Yet for every denial, another screenshot surfaces, complete with timestamps, contact names, even sworn statements from staff who swear they saw lines blur behind studio gates. The internet christened the scandal #MedeaGate, and for the first time in decades, Tyler Perry refused to write the ending himself. His silence felt louder than a press tour. While social feeds battled, Gelila Bekele's name sneaked back into headline. She'd gone zero dark 30. No interviews, no press junkets, no public defense of her former partner. Instead, she poured energy into activism, posted rare glimpses of her son, and stayed thousands of miles from the sound stages she once visited. Close friends whispered she'd long noticed late-night meetings, too warm hugs shared with male staff, and an emotional distance that widened each season. The Dixon revelations, they muttered, only confirmed what her intuition had already mapped. Was her quiet departure a graceful bow out or an emergency exit? Either way, the narrative of a peaceful co-parenting split now looked more like a calculated retreat from a storm she sensed long before radar picked it up. Meanwhile, Tyler Perry Studios, shorthand for a mini Hollywood in Atlanta, was churning out content non-stop. New seasons, streaming deals, and a freshly renewed series called Beauty in Black. But advertisers hate uncertainty. Insurance carriers demand background checks. A prolonged legal brawl could freeze productions, bleed millions, and force executives to weigh brand loyalty against bottom lines. Some insiders claim Netflix quietly added morals clauses to future contracts, just in case. The empire built on overcoming struggle now faced a struggle that couldn't be spun into a box office win. Perry's attorneys went on offense, filing motions to dismiss, hinting at extortion rings, and stressing Dixon's inconsistent timelines. Yet each new argument only guaranteed more headlines. And with Georgia's film tax credits under legislative fire, the last thing studio lobbyists needed was a scandal that tainted their crown jewel investor. June 13th, 2025, Los Angeles Superior Court stamped Dixon v. Perry, case number 25 STCV 17235, into the docket. Next hearing, October 15th. That date circled on entertainment calendars like a season finale. Journalists prepared live blogs. YouTubers prepped reaction videos. Perry's defenders pointed to gaps. No explicit language, just flirtation. Nothing violent, just awkward. Detractors countered with patterns. A groomer's friendship, a role mirroring real-life dependence, a power imbalance too sharp to ignore. The chessboard grew crowded. If NDAs leaked, would more names emerge? Would Bekele testify? Could a settlement bury the truth before it surfaced? Speculation morphed into fan fiction, each thread dragging the discourse further from fact and deeper into intrigue. Beneath the headlines lies a thornier question: identity and power in an industry built on stories. If Tyler Perry truly wrestled with his orientation, did that private battle twist into control plays? Or is this lawsuit proof that fame attracts opportunists who craft tiers, texts, and timelines for a payout? The answer matters, not just for one mogul, but for every employee who signs a contract dreaming of stardom yet fearing the unspoken cost. And then there's the audience. Perry's films champion forgiveness, faith, and transparency. How do viewers reconcile the preacher of truth with a man now accused of creating elaborate smokescreens? Social feeds toggle between empathy and fury. Some see a closeted soul tormented by shame, others see a predator cloaked in scripture. Both camps demand clarity, and neither will settle for silence. October looms. Evidence will either cement a dark narrative or shatter it. For Tyler Perry, the stakes stretch beyond damages. They encompass studio lots, philanthropic scholarships, and a legacy that inspired millions who felt unseen. For Gelila Bekele, history may cast her as either the casualty of an empire or the strategist who slipped away in time. For Derek Dixon, the trial could crown him a truth teller or expose him as a mastermind of modern extortion. So here we stand, on the edge of a verdict only the courts can write. We've traced a journey from one casual single post to leaked midnight messages, from a partner's calculated quiet to a lawsuit demanding 9-figure amends. Empires thrive on narrative control, scandals thrive on the gaps, and Tyler Perry's story now belongs to a judge, a jury, and a public that loves a plot twist. Will the king of inspirational cinema script his greatest comeback, or watch the curtain fall on secrets he never meant to share? Keep one eye on that October court date. History shows a single filing can upstage 10 blockbusters. Until then, drop your take below. Is this a cautionary tale about truth, power, and identity, or the ultimate Hollywood heist? Your comments might just predict the next scene, because in a world where one line can launch a franchise, the real suspense isn't on screen, it's in the silence between posts.